At my son's birthday party, my husband's family insisted he needs a proper religious name. My father scoffed, he already has one. My mother-in-law crossed her arms, you'll regret this decision. I smiled and said, funny, because I just found something interesting. When I showed them the meaning behind his name, their smug faces vanished. I, 33 female, am married to Mark, 36 male. We live in Chicago. We've been together for 5 years, married for 3. Our son, Aaron, just turned 1. His name is important to this story, obviously. Aaron wasn't a name we picked randomly. My late grandfather was named Aaron. He was a quiet, kind man who basically raised me while my mom worked 2 jobs. He passed from lung cancer when I was 19. Naming my son after him was a no-brainer for me. Mark knew that and supported it, or so I thought. Fast forward to the party. We had about 30 people at our apartment. Mostly family, a few close friends, cake, food, the usual stuff. Everything was going fine until the gifts were opened. My husband's mom, Margaret, not real name, but she's the type you're probably imagining, handed us a shiny box wrapped in gold paper. I already felt weird because she'd been acting odd. Quiet but clearly watching every move. Anyway, we open the box and inside is this beautiful silver baby bracelet. But the engraving? It didn't say Aaron. It said James. Now here's the thing. No one in either family is named James. I look at her and I go, Margaret, this is beautiful, but I think the jeweler made a mistake. She smiles. But not a happy smile. More like the kind of smile you give when you think you've outsmarted someone. No mistake, she says. James is his baptismal name. Silence. I look at Mark, who looks like he wants to disappear into the floor. My dad, who was holding Aaron, raised his eyebrows but didn't say anything yet. My mom was frozen with a cupcake halfway to her mouth. I don't understand, I say slowly. He was baptized as Aaron. Margaret waves her hand like I'm being dramatic. That was informal. We never agreed on Aaron. In our church, children should have a strong religious name. James is the name of an apostle. I'm stunned. Like literally staring at her with my mouth open. So, you just decided to rename my son? She shrugs. It's not renaming. It's giving him a real Christian name. Aaron is, fine, but it's Old Testament. Not the same. My dad finally speaks up. He already has a name, he says, cool and firm. Aaron is a name of faith. Moses' brother. He led the people. Margaret crosses her arms. You'll regret this decision. He won't be taken seriously in the church with a name like that. That's when I felt something snap inside me. All year, I've dealt with this woman's backhanded comments. When I was pregnant, she complained that I didn't pick a biblical theme for the nursery. When I said I wasn't going to circumcise, she accused me of denying our spiritual obligations. And now she's trying to change my son's name. I walked into the kitchen, pulled out my phone, and came back with it open to the meaning of the name Aaron. Held it right in front of her. Aaron means exalted or bringer of light, I read aloud. It's Hebrew. It's ancient. And it's deeply spiritual. In case you forgot, Margaret, Jesus was Jewish. Dead silence again. She blinked. Didn't speak. Just looked between me and my husband. Then she muttered, well, that's not the version I heard, and sat down like a deflated balloon. My husband stayed silent through all this. He didn't defend me. Didn't correct her. Didn't say a word. Which I noticed. After that, the rest of the party was awkward as hell. People made small talk. No one mentioned the bracelet again. Margaret didn't even say goodbye when she left. When it was all over, my dad helped me clean up while Mark put Aaron to bed. I told him thank you for speaking up. He said, it's your son. Not theirs. And he was right. But later that night, When I asked Mark if he knew his mom was planning that bracelet and the whole James thing, he hesitated. Just a little too long. He said, I didn't think she'd actually do it. Now I'm wondering what else he's not standing up for. And whether this whole name thing is just the start of something deeper. So after the party, things were tense. I could feel it in the walls of our apartment. You know that weird feeling when someone's walking on eggshells around you, but pretending everything's fine? That was Mark. He was being extra nice. Helping out more. Offering to cook even though he burns toast. I could tell he felt guilty. But I wasn't ready to let it go. 3 nights after the party, after Aaron had gone to sleep, I brought it up again. Be honest, I said. Did your mom tell you about the bracelet before the party? Mark looked at the floor. She mentioned wanting to do something traditional, he mumbled. Traditional? She engraved a different name on it, Mark. That's not traditional. That's disrespectful. He rubbed his face and let out a sigh. I didn't know she was gonna do that. But she kept saying the family was disappointed with the name. That it didn't fit with our side. Our side? I asked. What am I, the other team? He didn't answer. And then he dropped this little gem, they just think you rushed into naming him without considering how it would reflect on us. Us? Meaning his family. I lost it. You were in the room, Mark. You helped pick the name. You even said it made you think of strength and light. Now you're acting like I made the choice alone? He tried to explain, say he was just trying to keep peace. But all I heard was, I let them walk all over you because I didn't want to rock the boat. The next week was a blur. Margaret kept texting him. Stuff like, have you thought more about the baptism name? Or James would look so cute on the church record. I saw the texts. He didn't hide them, but he also didn't shut them down. Then came the real twist. That weekend, we went to visit his family's church. Mark wanted to just show our faces since some people from his side hadn't made it to the birthday. I didn't want to go, but I did, for him. Big mistake. Service ends, and we're chatting with a few of his aunts and uncles. All very proper, fake smiles. Someone comes over, a woman in her 50s, heavy perfume, big pearls, and says, so nice to finally meet little James. I blink. Sorry, I say. His name is Aaron. She laughs. Not in a haha funny way. More like, you silly thing. Oh, Margaret told us the family decided on James for his Christian name. Aaron's just the casual name. Casual name? I felt like the air got knocked out of me. I looked at Mark. He turned red. Couldn't even meet my eyes. My blood pressure shot through the roof. We left early. The whole car ride home, I didn't speak. Not one word. Mark kept trying to say, it's just a misunderstanding, but I wasn't buying it. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a scheme. A slow, careful rewriting of my son's identity behind my back. When we got home, I went into our office, pulled out the folder with Aaron's birth certificate, and took pictures of every official document. Birth record, vaccination papers, hospital ID. All of them said Aaron Elijah, last name. I texted the photos to Mark and said, these are the only names that matter. He didn't reply. The next day, my mom came over to drop off a casserole, classic mom move, and I ended up spilling everything. She looked me dead in the eye and said, if you don't shut this down now, they'll keep pushing. You know that, right? And she was right. This wasn't about a name anymore. It was about control. Later that night, I told Mark we needed to talk. Really talk. I laid it all out. How disrespected I felt. How it wasn't just Margaret, it was him, too. Because he let it happen. And then I told him something I hadn't said out loud before, if you ever try to baptize our son behind my back, or let your family start calling him by another name, that will be the end of this marriage. He just stared at me. No defense. No excuses. That's when I knew something else was going on. Something I wasn't seeing yet. A week passed. Things got quieter between me and Mark, not better, just quieter. That kind of silence that feels like you're both pretending the house isn't on fire. He was spending more time at work or going for late-night drives to clear his head. I was focusing on Aaron and trying not to fall apart. But something kept nagging at me. That woman at the church, why would she be so confident calling him James unless she had seen it written somewhere? I started digging. I don't know what pushed me to do it, but I went into our filing cabinet one night while Mark was out. We keep most stuff in the shared Dropbox, but some physical papers were stored, old tax files, insurance, things like that. And tucked between some envelopes, I found a sealed folder with a ribbon on it. Fancy looking. Inside was a certificate from their church. I didn't recognize the format at first, but then I saw it, Certificate of Holy Baptism, date, 3 weeks after Aaron was born. Name, James Elijah, last name. Parents, Mark and Sarah, last name. I felt sick. I flipped the paper over again and again, thinking maybe I was reading it wrong. But there it was. Plain as day. James. Not Aaron. 3 weeks after Aaron was born. I had been in recovery from a rough C-section. Mark had offered to handle the paperwork for some church photos and optional ceremonies while I rested. That was the week he was going out a lot, saying he needed to run errands, that he was taking care of some stuff. I sat down, shaking, holding that fake name in my hands. I'd been lied to. Not just manipulated. Lied to. Officially. I waited until he came home. I didn't yell. I just handed him the folder and said, "Explain this." He looked like he got hit by a truck. "I didn't think you'd ever find that," he said. I blinked. "That's your explanation?" He sat down, put his head in his hands, and started talking fast. Said his mom pressured him. Said they didn't mean harm. Said it was just a ceremonial name and it wasn't legally binding. That the church needed a saint's name, and Aaron didn't count for their records. "You named our son something else behind my back," I said. "Then you stood there and lied to my face." He swore he didn't mean to erase Aaron. That it was just to make his family happy. But that was the moment I knew, he cared more about keeping his mother happy than being honest with me. I told him to sleep on the couch. The next day, I called the church myself. Spoke to the office lady. I told her I wanted the record corrected immediately. She hesitated, then said something that chilled me. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but the baptism record was signed by both parents. We have physical proof of your signature." I felt my stomach drop. "That's not possible," I told her. "I never signed anything." She said she'd email me the scanned form. And when it came through? There it was. My name. My signature. Only, it wasn't mine. It was a forgery. I compared it to actual signed documents on my computer. I even opened my notes app and wrote it a few times. The loops were off. The slant was different. But to someone who didn't know me, it might have passed. Mark faked my signature on a religious document to rename our child. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was print it out and stare at it like it would start making sense. When he came home, I didn't scream. I just laid the paper on the kitchen table. He didn't deny it. He didn't even try. "I didn't think it would come back like this," he said. "I just thought it was symbolic." "Symbolic?" "You committed fraud," I said. "On our son's baptism. What else have you lied about, Mark? What else has your mom talked you into?" He stood there, speechless. That's when I noticed something I hadn't before. His phone buzzed. A message popped up from a contact saved as MG Margaret G. It said, "Don't forget to bring the baby's things on Sunday." Pastor wants to mention James by name again during the Easter service. Again. So this wasn't a one-time thing. They were planning to introduce him to the entire congregation as James. In front of everyone. Behind my back. My hands were shaking, but I was clear. If you take him to that church again under that name, I will call a lawyer. And I swear to God, Mark, I will burn down every lie you built around this. His face changed. For the first time in all this, he looked scared. Not angry. Scared. He knew I meant it. I didn't sleep much the night after I saw that forged baptism form. I kept getting up to check on Aaron. Just watching him breathe. Stroking his little curls. I whispered his real name over and over like a prayer. Aaron. 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 Like I needed to remind the universe what it was. Mark tried to talk to me the next morning. I told him not to. I said I needed space, and that if he wanted to see Aaron, he could do it in the living room, under my watch. But he didn't stay in the living room. He left. And he took his car. On Sunday morning, around 9:30 a.m., I realized I hadn't heard from him at all. I checked the baby monitor. Aaron was still in his crib. Gone. I ran through the apartment. Diaper bag, missing. Stroller, missing. His car seat, gone. I knew where he went. And I lost it. I threw on whatever clothes were on the floor, grabbed my keys, and sped through the city like a madwoman. I pulled into the church parking lot just as people were walking in for Easter service. The usual crowd. Everyone dressed up in pastel. Kids in bow ties. And right there on the church steps was Mark, holding Aaron. He was smiling like everything was fine. I marched right up. I didn't care who was watching. Give him to me. Now. He froze. People turned. Margaret stepped out from the entrance, smile already curling like she knew this would happen. It's Easter, Sarah, she said sweetly. Don't make a scene. Too late. A scene? I said, loud enough for half the steps to hear. You forged my signature. You lied to this entire church. You stole my child out of his bed. Gasps. Someone dropped a bulletin. Mark tried to hush me. Let's talk inside, no, I snapped. You don't get to hide behind stained glass after what you did. I turned to the crowd. My husband baptized our son behind my back. Under a fake name. Then planned to parade him here today like nothing happened. Like I don't exist. Margaret's voice went cold. You always make everything about you. I laughed. It wasn't a funny laugh. Aaron is my child. You tried to rewrite his name like I don't matter. Like my family doesn't matter. Do you know what his name means? It means light. It means strength. It means my grandfather, who held me while I cried the day my mom couldn't pay rent. Now Mark looked like he wanted the earth to open and swallow him whole. The pastor stepped forward, trying to do damage control. Let's all calm down, no, I said, shaking now, but still steady. I want you to hear this. I want everyone to hear this. I pulled the printed baptism certificate from my bag. This was faked. I never signed this. And if this church keeps a record under the name James, I will go public. I'll take it to court if I have to. Margaret hissed, you're destroying your own family. No, I said. You did that. When you decided my voice didn't matter. Mark finally spoke, voice barely audible. I'm sorry. Too late. I took Aaron, who had been quietly chewing on a teething ring through the whole thing, and walked away. People didn't know what to do. Some looked away. Some stared at the ground. One older woman whispered, good for you, as I passed. A younger man muttered, damn. I didn't look back. Mark came home that night. Alone. He cried. He begged. He said he was scared of disappointing his mother. That she always told him he was weak. That letting me name the baby without consulting the family made him feel like he wasn't being a good son. I told him, "You're not her son anymore. You're Aaron's father. And you failed him." He slept at his brother's for 2 weeks after that. During that time, I met with a lawyer. Not to start a custody battle, but to make sure Aaron's name, records, and guardianship were safe. Legal. I got everything documented. Then I gave Mark a choice, family counseling or divorce. He chose counseling. Margaret? She's blocked. Permanently. She tried to email. Send cards. Even mailed a silver frame engraved with Baby James, Easter 2025. I sent it back in a box labeled Return to sender. Wrong name. Wrong child. It's been 3 months since Easter. Things are stable. Not healed. Not perfect. But Mark shows up to therapy. He listens. He's trying. I can see that now. But I also don't forget what happened. Trust isn't something you get back just because you say sorry. As for Aaron, he's starting to walk. His first word was light. No joke. My dad cried when he heard it. People ask if I regret choosing that name. If it's been worth all the fighting. And I say, every time I look at him, I remember why I chose it. Why I fought. Because his name is more than a label. It's a promise. And I'll never let anyone rewrite it again. You don't realize how easy it is to lose your voice until someone else starts speaking over you. And sometimes, the loudest thing you can do is say no. Even if you have to say it on the church steps. In front of everyone.